Hello, superheroes and supervillains. It's your friend Sean PVS 101. Welcome back to my Spider-Man movie review series leading up to No Way Home later on. And today's movie review, or movie rant, I'm gonna do a movie rant on Spider-Man 3. This movie is once again directed by Sam Raimi, stars Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson, James Franco as Harry Osborn, and Topher Grace as Venom, and J.K. Simmons as James Jameson, and other cast. And so the plot for Spider-Man 3, it takes place a year after the second movie left off. In this movie, Peter Parker is ready to get ready for Mary Jane Watson, and then but then there's a meteor came out, and there's a symbiote coming through, and then later on, while Peter Parker is ready to go Mary Jane Watson's play, and then suddenly Harry Osborn is becoming the new Green Goblin because in the second movie, Harry Osborn shocked Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and then he is ready to become the new Goblin. Later on, there's a new villain named the Sandman, who is break out of prison and becomes the Sandman. And then there's a character named Topher. There's a new guy named Eddie Brock, played by Topher Grace. And then he becomes Venom throughout 5 seconds throughout the freaking climax, and then there's love triangle with MJ and Gwen Stacy, and that's the plot for this movie. That's the plot for Spider-Man 3. So after I watched this movie throughout my Spider-Man marathon for No Way Home, what's my opinion on this movie? Oh my goodness. This movie is such a gigantic, jumbled mess of a movie. I'm sorry, people. Spider-Man 3 is such a mess and a disappointment. I really hate this movie. I'm sorry, guys. Before I tear this movie apart, it's not an awful movie. I don't hate with a burning passion. If you like this movie, good for you. I respect your opinion. But for me, I really can't stand this movie. It sucked. It is such a letdown, in my opinion. Because, don't get me wrong, I love the first Spider-Man movie directed by Sam Raimi. I love the first movie. And I really adore Spider-Man 2 so much. I freaking love Spider-Man 2. That movie is the best Spider-Man movie ever. I love Spider-Man 2. But for this movie is a huge, gigantic, jumble mess of a movie. This movie is a huge mess. There is way too much plot in a one movie. The story's a huge mess. The characters are ruined and doesn't be in the movie. The action scenes are a bit messy, and the CGI is laughably bad. I'm sorry, guys. You guys are gonna disagree with this, but it's my opinion. So yeah, are there any positives for Spider-Man 3? Well, there's a bit positives. Let's get into the good things first. Like the performances, I really like the performances in Spider-Man 3. Like Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, James Franco, and J.K. Simmons did an amazing job throughout the trilogy. I really love their performances. And also, I really love the score of Spider-Man 3. It is really good. Not amazing as the first two, but is really great. Also, J.K. Simmons. I love J.K. Simmons. I really love him a lot. Also, I love James Jameson because I just really love some funny scenes, like the scene when he tried to take his anger pills, and then Betty Brock trying to erupt him. That part is so funny. That part is funny. I laugh and chuckle when he forgot to take his pills. And then I really love Spider-Man versus Sandman, and also Sandman versus the Black Spider. And also the black suit spider was cool. I really like that part. So yeah. Also, also Sandman who also Sandman in this movie was good. Was good. Also, comment down below who played the actor. Sorry about that, people. It's hard to talk, but comment down below who played the. Comment down below who played the villain of Sandman in Spider-Man 3. Comment down below. Sorry about my talking, but Sandman was a good villain. But that was it. That's the only good things I love about Spider-Man 3. But the rest? Oh my god, what a freaking mess. Sorry, fans, but I freaking can't stand this movie. It is a huge mess of a movie. So yeah, let's tear this movie apart right now. Let's get into my negatives. So yeah, let's tear Spider-Man 3 to shreds. What's wrong with... So yeah, let's talk about the story. What's wrong with the story? It is a freaking mess! Oh my god, I hated it. The story is a huge jumble mess. What makes the first two movies so amazing? They took the script of the first film, and especially the second movie, put in the blender, shoving into some unnecessary plots into one movie, and add some random stuff, and voila, we get this movie. Honestly, I really can't stand of some moments came out of nowhere, like Peter Parker's becomes the Black symbiote, and then Harry Osborn becomes the new Goblin for a moment, and then there's a new villain named Sandman, and then Eddie Brock becomes Venom throughout the third act, and Peter Parker's in love with Gwen Stacy over Mary Jane, and so much crap into one movie. It's a huge mess. I really can't stand some subplots, because the subplots in this movie suck. But what makes the subplots work in the first movie and the second movie, which at least the subplots in the second movie kind of work, like Peter Parker is going to get a new job. He had to work with Otto Octavius. He's trying to cheer up Mary Jane Watson, and James Franco is being jealous at Peter, and Dr. Octopus is the villain. At least the subplots in Spider-Man 2 work, before the subplots in the third movie didn't work. It is a huge freaking mess. I really hated it. Also, the characters are a bit ruined. Like, Tobey Maguire in this movie, I love him a lot in the first two movies. But in this movie, I don't see any character of him. When he becomes emo Peter Parker, oh my goodness. He is becoming an unlikable dick, which I hate, by the way. He becomes a jerk. Trying to become, when he yelled at his neighbor in the apartment, he becomes so unlikable. Like during one scene during the dance party, he slapped Mary Jane Watson, and when he's trying to hit MJ, he becomes so unlikable. Which I don't hate Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire did a good job playing this character, but Peter Parker in this movie becomes so unlikable. Also, Kirsten Dunst in this movie, which I love her performance, but her character as MJ, she was even more unlikable and biatch, which I really hate her character in the first movie, but she is even worse. She's even worse in this movie. Like, when she gets mad at Peter, when she tried to date another girl, and then when she tried to cheat on him back, and then when MJ was a bit mad at Peter in the bridge scene, I was like, biatch, you cheat on every single boyfriend you have in this movie. Like, she cheated on Peter for Flash Tops in the first movie, and then she cheated on Peter for the astronaut guy, and then later on she loved with Peter, and then Peter cheated her back, and then cheated on Peter with Harry. biatch. You cheat on every single boyfriend throughout the trilogy. You are the worst girlfriend you can have in these movies. You cannot say anything, you biatch. Oh yeah. There is one scene I was so throughout the movie is during one scene when MJ is upset at Peter Parker at the park, and then I was so face-palming how bad this scene is. Also, Harry Osborn in this movie, I love him in the first two movies, but I love Harry Osborn in the first two movies, like when he started to become jealous on Spider-Man. He tried to become the new Goblin. Remember the ending in the second movie, trying to build up, but that scene bit ruined. I just want Harry Osborn to become the new villain, become the new Goblin. I want to see that in the new. I want to see him as a new villain, but nope. He got defeated throughout the movie and becomes losing his memory. Why? Why Harry Osborn lost his memory? I don't know. Maybe a subplot ruined it. Ugh. Also, Aunt May. Aunt May is good, but she's barely in it. But I love Aunt May in the first two movies. She was awesome. But here, she's good. Also, Sandman. I really love Sandman. He's another good character I like. Also, really love him. I love his motivations and his goals. But also some moments, like some subplot moments, like his daughter came out of nowhere. Like, seriously, what's the daughter's purpose? She trying to be like another like subplot character or another heartwarming moment to make the audience go, "Aw." Seriously, what's the girl's purpose? Also, let's talk about the sorry about that. That's my cough. Let's talk about the CGI. My God, it looks so bad in my opinion. What makes the first two movies' visual effects so unique, it didn't overuse on CGI. It practically, at least, didn't mention it. At least the second movie has better visual effects. Like, it's trying to be more grounded and reality. But this one is an overused CGI mess. Like, some action scenes are very underwhelming. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some good parts like Sandman versus Spider-Man and Sandman versus Black Spider. That's some good parts I love. But like Harry Osborn versus Peter throughout the movie, it looks laughably bad. So yeah, really not a fan of the visual effects and action scenes. But the worst character I freaking hate throughout the movie is Eddie Brock / Venom, played by Topher Grace. My God, I hate Eddie Brock in this movie. They got the character wrong. Eddie Brock is this beef dude who hates Spider-Man so much he becomes Venom, the most iconic Spider-Man villain. But in this movie, he played by Topher Grace, that dude from that 70s show. What the frick, Sony? You ruined Venom! Oh my goodness, I freaking hate Eddie Brock in this movie, played by that loser Topher Grace, which I don't hate Topher Grace. He's a good actor, but he is miscast by Eddie Brock. I really hate Eddie Brock in this movie. He is freaking wasted throughout the movie. When he becomes Venom, and later on he becomes the villain Venom throughout the climax, he is freaking wasted. So yeah, I really hate that guy so much. He is the worst character throughout the trilogy. So yeah, my gosh, I am so disappointed with Spider-Man 3. I want to love this movie. I love the first film. I adore the second movie. I really want to love Spider-Man 3 so much. But this movie, I don't. I'm really so disappointed. So overall, guys, I'm really so disappointed with part of Spider-Man 3 with a messy story. Characters are ruined, bad CGI, and underwhelming action. Overall, if you love Spider-Man 3, if you like this movie, good for you. I respect your opinion. Respect mine. Overall, I give this movie a 3 out of 10. It gets the Sean PVS 101 seal of garbage. So yeah, stay tuned for my next movie review. It's The Amazing Spider-Man 2.